What's up? Math 6, 2.6. Today we're dividing decimals. Alright, so first one, let's take 36.8 over 6, which really means 37.8 divided by 6, okay? We're going to estimate first. So 37.8, pretty close to 36, kind of, so we'll do squiggly equals. Let's say it's about 36 divided by 6, which is of course equal to 6. So our answer should be equal to 6, close to 6, probably a little more than 6 though, right? Because this number is a little bit bigger than 36. So let's go ahead and do this. And so we remember that the numerator is what goes inside our division sign, right? 37.8. 8, that's a 5, 8, and then outside, which is called the divisor, right, because we have the dividend divisor, and up here will be our answer, which we call our quotient. We put the 6, the denominator, outside there, right, because it's 37.8 being divided by 6. The number outside the divisor is the thing that's doing the work, it's doing the dividing. Alright, so we need to ask ourselves, hey, does our divisor have a decimal in it? Okay, or is it a number that includes a decimal? Well, there's technically an invisible decimal right there, right? Because 6 is really 6.0, but it's not affecting it, okay? This is a whole number is really what we're asking, and that's good. So let's go ahead, and if that's the case, we can divide. So does 6 go into 3? No. So we're going to put a 0 up there. Does 6 go into 37? Yes. How many times? 6 whole times, which gives us a 36, and that's a 1 remaining. Now remember, we need to move our decimal up, okay? And then we're going to bring down the 8. Does 6 go into 18? Yes. How many times? 3, giving us a perfect 18 with a remainder of 0, which means our answer is 06.3, right? Yeah, kind of, but do we need that 0 right there? No, we really don't. So our answer is 6.3. Now we estimated our answer would be around 6, but we said a little bit more, and that's a little bit more than 6. So I think our estimating worked out. Now, how can I be sure? Well, if I take my quotient of 6.3, which we found, multiply it by the divisor of 6, guess what I should get? 37.8, right? So let's do that. So that's a 18. And then 6 times 6 is 36, plus 1 is 37. There was 1 decimal place, so we have 1 decimal place in 37.8. So it checks out. That is indeed our answer. All right, so I want you to give this one a shot on your own. Play it when you are done. Okay, so hopefully you didn't do this. Because that's not what that says, is it? No, it says take 4.38 and divide it by 12. If you were to write it as a fraction, it would be 4.38 over 12, okay? And so what we're going to do is put our 4.38 in there. It is our dividend, and our divisor is 12. Okay, so is this a whole number? Yes, it is. That's good, so we can move forward. Does 12 go into 4? No, it does not. So we're going to put a 0 up there. Does 12 go into 43? Yes. How many times? Well, 12 times 4 is 48, so it's got to be less than 4, but 12 times 3 is 36. And so that's what we're going to have there. So what is 43 minus 36? Well, cancel that. Boom, that's a 7, that's a 0. And so we have 7. Now, we're going to bring that decimal point that was right there in the 4.38 up, okay? Either now or at the end. I kind of like to do it as I go. And so now let's bring down this 8. So does 12 go into 78? Well, let's see. 12 times 5 is 60. 12 times 6 is 72. 12 times 7 is 84. So 7 was too much, but 12 times 6, we said was what? 72. So let's go ahead and subtract there. And what is 78 minus 72? It's 6. All right, now what do? I got nothing else to bring down, so I just have a remainder, correct? Wrong. We are done with remainders. We're going to pull down a 0, or add a 0 and pull it down, and then ask, hey, does 12 go into 60? Yeah, it actually goes in there perfectly 5 times, and so you get 60 and 60 subtract 0. So what is our answer? Our answer is our quotient on top, 0.365. All right, so what do we do then when we divide by a decimal? Okay, so we have 15.8 divided by 2.5. Okay, so How we set that up? Well, 15.8, it's the number that comes first, right? It's our dividend, 15.8 divided by 2.5. Okay, so here's the problem. We don't want to try and put into the divisor a non-whole number, okay, a decimal number. So let's go ahead and actually, we're going to make this into a whole number. How do we do that? Well, we could say we're multiplying by a 10 or 100 or 1,000, but I like to think of it as just moving the decimal. We're going to move the decimal point one place to the right, but whatever I do to the divisor, I have to also do to the dividend. So I'm going to move its decimal one place to the right, and now I'm going to rewrite the whole thing. So now it's a 25 as our divisor, and our dividend is 158. Okay, and the decimal is technically right there. Okay, so what we can do is actually go ahead and write it up above there. So now we can go back and say, okay, now is this a whole number? Yes, now it's a whole number. So now we can try working the divisor into the dividend. So does 25 go into 1? No. Does 25 go into 15? No. Does 25 go into 158? Yes. Now how many times is the question? So 25, I know 25 times 4 is 100, right? So then 25 times 6 would be 100 plus another 25 and another 25, so a 50. Okay? So it's going to go in there into 158 6 times, giving you 150. So when you subtract, you're left with an 8, correct? Yes. Now what do we do though? There's nothing else to bring down. Well, when there's nothing else to bring down, I have to add a 0 and bring it down. Okay, so does 25 go into 80? Yeah. How many times? Well, 25 times 3 is 75. That gives us a 5. Nothing more to bring down. Need to add a 0, right? Bring down a 0. So, does 25 go into 50? Yes. And it goes in there how many times? Evenly? 2. And so then it gives us a remainder of 0, which means we are done. So what is our answer? 6.32. Now, how can I be sure? Well, if I take 6.32 and multiply it by 25, well, what should I get? I'm not going to get 15.8. I'm going to get 158, okay? And so that's what I need to be checking for. So let's do that 6.32 and divide by it, or I'm sorry, multiply it by the 25. Go ahead and multiply that out. All right, so for time's sake, I just sped it up. When I multiply it out, I have 2 decimal places in my answer, so that means my decimal is going to go there, and I get exactly what I thought, 158. So the question is 6.32 the answer to 158 divided by 25, or is 6.32 the answer to 15.8 divided by 2.5? Either there or there. It's a trick question. It's the answer to what? It's the answer to both. All right, so I want you to try this one. Give it a shot. Let's just kind of see how you do. All right, so the setup for this one should initially look like this. 2.45 being divided by 0.007. We remember this has to be a whole number, and currently it's not. So how do we turn it into a whole number? Well, move the decimal enough times to where it's on the right side of the last number. So 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden it's a 7. But that means I have to move it 1, 2, 3 times there, which leaves me with a gap. And what do I do with that gap? I fill it in with a 0, okay? Always filling things in with zeros. It's kind of a common thread here. So now we got a 7 on the outside, and we get 2, 4, 5, and then that's going to be our 0 right there. So we'll put it right there next to the 5. And our decimal is still right there. Yes, there's a decimal right there also, but we don't need it. So take it one at a time. 7 go into 2? No. Put a 0. Does 7 go into 24? Yes. How many times? 3. It gives you a 21. Subtract, you get a 3. Bring down your 5. Does 7 go into 35? Yes. How many times? 5 times, right? So that gives you a 35 and then a 0. So you might be saying, well, hold on. Are we done at 35? Because 7 times 35, that's probably not enough to get you 2,450, and it's not. Okay, well, notice our decimals right here. So we know at some point we're going to have to bring it up. Let's bring it up. And what that reveals is that there's still a space above the 0 that needs to be filled in. So the question might be, well, what do I fill it in with? Well, we still have a 0 to bring down, so let's bring it down. Does 7 go into 0, 0, which is really just 0? No. So what do? Above that, you put in a 0. Okay? So what is our answer then? Our answer is actually 350. Comes from right up there, right? There's nothing else to have to bring down, and we're already at 0 and a remainder anyway. So we're already done at 350. Alright, y'all, that's all I got for you in this video. We will talk so much more about this and practice this in class. I will see you then.